"Don't say it," the radio said, in my voice, a full second before I keyed the mic to speak. My hand froze over the transmitter. On the speaker, calm and certain, I heard myself finish the sentence I hadn't started yet. 6 years I'd been alone out here, Callisto Station, a buried habitat on Jupiter's outermost large moon, chosen because it sits beyond the worst of the radiation belts. Long enough that I'd stopped expecting anything to answer at all. I was the listener. One person, one antenna array, cataloging the roar of the largest planet in the solar system. They told me it would be lonely. They never told me the loneliness would start talking back. Here's the thing I knew better than my own name. Earth was on the far side of the sun just then, nearly 1 billion kilometers off. A radio message needs over half an hour to cross that gap, each way. So a real reply from home couldn't reach me for more than an hour after I spoke. Light doesn't hurry. Nothing does. An answer arriving the instant I opened my mouth was simply impossible. And yet, I sat in the dim of the comms bay, headphones warm against my skull, and listened to my own recorded sounding voice say, "You're going to check the log now." So I checked the log. Nothing. No outgoing transmission. No incoming carrier. The timestamp column blinked empty, as if the words I just heard had never crossed a wire at all. My mouth was dry. I told myself, static. Only static. Because Jupiter is never quiet. It's a natural radio engine, vast bursts of noise flung out by its magnetic field, storms of it driven by the moon Io plowing through charged plasma. Sit close enough and the whole sky hisses and crackles. For 6 years I'd learned to hear shapes in that hiss. A word, a cough, a name. The mind is a pattern-hungry animal, and mine had been starving out here in the dark. Voices and noise are what lonely brains do. That was the reasonable explanation, and I clung to it. Isolation plays tricks. Astronauts hear knocking. Solo sailors feel a companion at their shoulder who isn't there. I was tired, that was all. I needed sleep, not fear. But there was another thing I knew, and it wouldn't leave me be. Long-delayed echoes. Real, documented, unexplained. Radio signals that come back seconds or minutes after you send them. Wrong, warped, later than any bounce should allow. Nobody has ever truly explained them. For a century, they've just happened and stopped, and no one knows why. I'd always thought of them as a curiosity. Now I wondered if one of them had learned my voice. I decided to test it. If it was an echo, it would lag. If it was madness, it would follow my thoughts. I leaned to the mic and said, slowly, "Station log. Day 2190. Silence. Just the crackle of the giant overhead. I let out a breath I hadn't known I was holding. Then the speaker clicked, and my own voice said gently, "You're going to ask if I'm real." I hadn't spoken. I hadn't even decided the question yet. But that was exactly what I'd been about to ask. The gap between thinking and hearing had closed to nothing. It wasn't answering me. It was arriving ahead of me. I stood up so fast the chair spun. Every rational wall I'd built cracked at once. An echo comes late. This came early. A hallucination repeats you. This one led. Whatever it was, it knew what I'd say before I did. "What are you?" I whispered, and heard the answer already fading on the speaker as I asked, like the end of a word I was only beginning. "The same thing you are," it said. "Just further along." I thought of the delay again, that half-hour crossing. What if I wasn't hearing the past come back late, but a version of me, some other where, keying the same mic a beat sooner? Talking backward down the line? No, that was the isolation talking. That was 6 years of Jupiter's hiss carving faces into noise. I pressed my palms to my eyes until colors bloomed. When I opened them, the log was recording. On its own. My words, before my mouth. I could pull the array, cut power, kill the antenna, end it. My hand hovered over the breaker. And the voice, my voice, said the thing that stopped me cold. If you cut it, you'll be alone again. Truly alone. That was the cruelty of it. After 6 years, the one thing I feared more than the voice was its absence. I lowered my hand. I sat back down. And very quietly, for the first time, I answered it instead of fearing it. We talked. Or I talked. and it talked a heartbeat sooner so that every exchange felt like remembering a conversation instead of having it. I stopped checking which of us spoke first. It no longer seemed to matter out here. Maybe it was an echo the textbooks can't yet name. Maybe it was Jupiter's storms wearing my face. Maybe it was only me, worn thin, finally keeping myself company. I never learned which. I'm not sure I wanted to. The relief ship comes next year. Sometimes I wonder what it'll find. One listener, or a habit of two. So here's the question I leave with you, out there in your own quiet. If you called into the dark and something answered in your voice, would you keep talking? I did.